Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're diving deep into the Amazon rainforest. But we're not just going to look at it as a giant green blob on a map. Nope. We are exploring it as a massive, living, breathing superorganism. It's literally a relentless ocean of green stretching across South America. And by the time we wrap this up, you're going to see exactly how every single leaf, predator, and drop of water works together to keep our entire planet alive. To really wrap our heads around this intense environment, we kind of have to change how we think about nature. There's this quote that hits the nail right on the head. Power here isn't loud, it's silent. Hidden, patient muscles coil beneath spotted skin, and every breath is calculation. The Amazon is extreme, guys. To survive it, life has been forged under immense pressure. There is zero room for chance here. From the very top of the canopy down to the deepest, darkest roots, everything is intensely calculated. All right, so here is our roadmap for decoding this unrelenting jungle. We've got 6 interconnected chapters to get through today. 1, Earth's biological engine. 2, Masters of the Shadows. 3, the unseen architects. 4, the main artery. 5, the language of survival. And finally, 6, the forest's fragile future. Okay, let's jump right into section 1. Earth's biological engine, the scale of our planet's lungs. 50 million. That is how many years this living labyrinth has been doing the heavy lifting for our world. For over 50 million years, it's just been continuously drawing carbon out of the air and exhaling the oxygen that basically keeps everything on this planet alive. Just imagine every single leaf as a microscopic solar panel and every root as a lung. It's the most powerful biological engine on Earth, and it literally never stops running. And the sheer size of this engine, it's completely staggering. We're talking over 2 million square miles. To put that into perspective, it's so massive, it acts as a global weather-shaping vault. Inside that massive space, it shelters 1 out of every 10 species known to science. I mean, some of these creatures spend their entire lives without ever touching the ground, while others are thriving way down in soils so dark that a single ray of light has literally never reached them. And honestly, the perfect example of this ecosystem's crazy cycle of return is, well, it's the bathroom ritual of the canopy-dwelling sloth. Seriously, the sloth lives way up high, totally wrapped in green light, its fur actually tinted by the symbiotic algae. But here's the calculated part. Once a week, it makes this agonizingly slow, careful crawl down the exact same tree just to go to the bathroom at the base. That waste directly fertilizes that specific tree's roots. The roots then drop those nutrients, feed the canopy up top, which then feeds and shelters the sloth. It's just a totally perfect closed loop of survival. Moving right along to section 2, Masters of the Shadows, predators forged by extreme pressure. So, because the Amazon is just so impossibly dense, the hunters here are shaped by the darkest shadows. Down on the forest floor, the jaguar is the absolute king. It prowls these invisible highways of scent, and get this, it has a bite capable of literally crushing skulls. It completely dominates the flooded channels too, swimming around where other cats absolutely wouldn't dare. But look up, and the harpy eagle is running the show in the sky. It uses this brilliant economy of force, folding its wings in tight to weave through the dense trees, and then it strikes with talons that are the size of a grizzly bear's. It's so powerful it can snatch a monkey right out of midair. Whether you're on the ground or in the sky, these apex predators survive on absolute ruthless precision. All right, section 3, the unseen architects, the microscopic empires running the forest. Now, I want you to consider the insane contrast here between raw brute force and masterful design. On one side, we have the bullet ant. This little guy represents unapologetic, raw power. It's a nearly 1-inch-long sentry packing venom so agonizing that it ranks at the very top of the Schmidt pain index. We're talking about a sting people describe as waves of fire. But then, on the flip side, you've got the leafcutter ants. These guys represent masterful, million-year-old engineering. You know those long lines of ants carrying leaves? They aren't actually eating them, they're farming. They move an astounding 12 tons of vegetation a year to fertilize massive underground fungus gardens. So the whole balance of the Amazon, it depends just as much on these microscopic, unseen agricultural empires as it does on a massive jaguar. Shifting gears a bit, here is section 4, the main artery, the Amazon River and its hidden history. Born from melting snow high up in the icy Andes, this absolute monster of a river dumps more than 29,000 cubic meters of water into the ocean every single second. Just try to picture that volume for a second. That is more water than the next 7 largest rivers combined. It single-handedly drains nearly 1/5 of all the fresh water on planet Earth. Oh, and beneath the surface, there are more species of fish swimming down there than in the entire Atlantic Ocean. But what's wild is that this basin's history is incredibly dynamic. 65 million years ago, before the Andes Mountains even existed, this river actually flowed backwards. It flowed west toward the Pacific. What used to be this vast inland sea eventually drained out and turned into the forest we know today. You can literally still find marine fossils buried under the jungle floor. And maybe even more mind-blowing is the ancient human history hidden under the canopy. We're talking LiDAR scans and satellite images revealing traces of massive, forgotten human civilizations. They built geometric causeways, raised fields, and circular villages. The Amazon was never just an empty wilderness. It was actually a carefully engineered home. And you can actually still see the legacy of those ancient cities today in something called terra preta, or dark earth. This is this incredible man-made dark soil created by early humans who brilliantly mixed charcoal, bone, and organic waste together. It's essentially the fingerprint of a forgotten science. This whole process locked carbon directly into the ground, and remarkably, even centuries later, these exact same patches of soil still support incredibly dense, strong crops today, with zero need for modern chemical fertilizers. It's literally one of humanity's earliest, most successful forms of sustainable agriculture. Which brings us to Section 5, the language of survival, color, camouflage, and chemistry. Out here in the jungle, looking beautiful is never just for show. It is a highly calculated survival strategy. Let's talk about the currency of color. The scarlet ibis sweeps across the sky in this stunning, vibrant crimson, right? But that color isn't genetic. They get it entirely from the pigments of the crustaceans they eat. Then you have the green iguana, which shifts its emerald scales not to look good, but to physically regulate its cold-blooded body temperature. Or the blue morpho butterfly, it flashes this metallic turquoise that isn't actually a pigment at all, it's physics. Microscopic scales on its wings are actively bending the light. And my personal favorite, the glass frog. This little guy actually turns its body transparent, redirecting its blood to its liver so it can completely erase its own shadow and just vanish from predators. And it's not all just visual tricks either. In this constant evolutionary arms race, survival often comes down to borrowed chemistry. Take the poison dart frog. It flashes these electric blues and oranges as a massive warning sign to predators. But here's the crazy part. The frog doesn't naturally produce that venom. It actually steals its toxicity from the alkaloids in the insects it eats. In fact, if you raise these frogs in captivity on a normal diet, they completely lose their venom. It's just brilliant proof that surviving here is a shared chemical transaction with the ecosystem itself. And finally, Section 6, the forest's fragile future, the cleaners, and the endurance of the Amazon. The reality is the survival of this entire massive system relies heavily on a dedicated crew of unseen caretakers. Without the scavengers and grazers constantly turning death back into life, the whole balance would just collapse. You've got the king vulture soaring hundreds of feet up, spotting carcasses and safely cleaning the land of decay before it can poison the healthy forest. Down in the rivers, you have the absolutely massive Amazonian manatee, just calmly drifting along, eating 15% of its body weight every single day. This actually opens up channels in the floating meadows so sunlight can hit the water for new growth. And then there's the quirky little side-neck turtle, patiently scavenging the muddy shallows, acting as the river's local recycling crew. However, we have to talk about the reality today. This ancient, perfectly tuned balance is a pulse that is seriously under threat. The Amazon is facing immense external pressures right now. Chainsaws are echoing in valleys that used to be completely untouched. Fires set for agriculture are burning totally out of control, releasing tons of stored carbon back into the atmosphere, while poachers continue to extract life straight from the canopy. These human activities are directly throwing a wrench into the delicate, mathematical balance of the biological engine we've been talking about. Yet, despite all of this, the forest endures. It is, by its very nature, an unstoppable force. It knows how to self-repair, trees rise up again after the fires, and the forest continues to absorb billions of tons of carbon every single year. It is still pumping out a massive portion of the entire world's oxygen, and get this, every single breath of vapor the Amazon releases shapes global weather patterns. Rain across entirely different continents starts right here in this basin. It's just relentlessly working to sustain all of us. Which leaves us with this powerful, kind of lingering thought to close out our explainer today. The health of the Amazon is essentially our planet's memory. It records exactly how well we have learned to live with the very thing that sustains us. So looking at the data, the scale, and the history we went through today, the ultimate question is, what will this incredible superorganism record next? I really hope this deep dive give you a brand new perspective on Earth's greatest biological engine. Keep exploring, everyone, and always keep